division games, they're rolling. So, what did they prove with this win?
Well, quick question for you, Wiles.
Okay.
After seeing that interview with Josh Jacobs, where are the Packers on your vibes meter? They gotta be high. The vibes are great to me. You didn't love that?
I liked it, but it wasn't like,
Loved it.
no, it wasn't like over the moon vibe.
A guy that's overjoyed to get into the postseason.
He said, like, our
he's been
ceiling
on losing teams for, with the Raiders all those years. He wants to rock and
I'll
roll.
be honest with you, it didn't really even register.
Wow.
It just felt like a successful team.
Well, let me
Justin
change
Jefferson
the
was talking about
direction.
LSU.
Yeah.
Dan
Okay.
Campbell's going
Okay.
crazy. Why should we be mad?
Yeah.
Here's what they proved. Since you didn't catch it, let me explain it, make it clear to the audience. They proved last night, Nick, that they have the killer instinct.
Oh.
They proved that despite their age, their youthfulness, they're the youngest team in the NFL, that they have the maturity to stay locked in and focused. You know why I know that? Because they, of all teams, delivered the first shutout in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, their team's good enough to shut out weak opponents. But they went and did it. You got to stay focused. You can't make a mistake. You can't let up. You can't get, we blowing them out. You can't look ahead to next week
Let
where
them get
it's
a field goal.
huge game against Minnesota.
take
You have to have the killer instinct. And that's what they showed me. And Nick, we talk about all the contenders in the NFC. And we have to admit they all have a weakness.
Correct.
Detroit, obviously, the injuries on defense, and even David Montgomery, you're going to miss him. And Minnesota, the Sam Darnold question.
I don't know if that's a fair one.
It's a question.
I don't know that it's fair to call him right now a weekness, but it is a question.
Just a question.
It's definitely
That's
a
it.
question. Any quarterback that's never started a playoff game, it's a question.
And he's played, 5, 6 years before
This
this?
is his seventh year.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
played a long time.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like he only played a year or two
Totally fair.
with the Jets or
It's
whatever.
absolutely fair.
And then, of course, Philly, Sirianni can be
Yeah.
a question. Jalen, not so much because at least he played well in the Super Bowl. But Nick, I don't have any question. I got one question about them because I think defensively they're top 10 in both passing and rushing. The coach is great. The quarterback's arguably the most talented, or one of them in the NFC for sure. I think he's the best in the NFC. And then Josh Jacobs is running the ball as well as anybody not named Saquon or Derek. And so
What about Rico?
the only question is this.
Yeah.
Will their lack of experience get to them? But last year they were great in the playoffs.
I don't-
so I don't even know if that's a legit question.
So I don't think that's the only question. However, I think the real question is not even a question, it's a fact. They can't win the division because they're eliminated from that. If they went out because Detroit and Minnesota play each other, someone's going to get another win. They can't win the division. So they're basically locked into 3 straight road games. That's not a question as much as it is just their reality, and that is an incredibly tough path for anyone. Again, the Packers did it once with Aaron Rodgers, young
and they won
Aaron,
their last
and
one.
obviously Tom Brady and the Bucks did it. I don't vape anymore.
Really?
No. Old school now.
You
And
you
so,
went back to old school.
and so that was, I don't know, that was my phone or something. I apologize. But regardless, so it's not that it can't be done. That's incredibly tough. But where I have come around, bro, is I look at the NFC right now, and the 7 teams that I think are going to make the playoffs. We know 5 of them, and then I think Tampa's going to win that division, and I think, and the odds makers agree with me, the Rams are a huge favorite to win that division. Man, I think you could make a case for, it's the first time in my life where a conference, I wouldn't be shocked, truly shocked, if any of the 7 made it. If I were power ranking it right now, this is how I would do it. I would have Philly right now as the favorite. Right. Whoever wins the division between Minnesota and Detroit as the second favorite, because that probably is going to come with the bye, as it's the division and the bye and all of it. I would have Green Bay right now third. The Rams
ahead of
yes.
Because even if, say, Minnesota finishes second.
Yes, exactly, because it's the same road. To be finishing 5th or having the 5 or the 6 seeds, the same road, in my opinion. And then the Rams, and then the loser of Minnesota, Detroit for that. And then I'm not going to totally disqualify Tampa, and I'm not going to totally disqualify Washington with the way Jaden's playing. So I just can't say it again.
Exactly. I have the counter take to Brew's take.
Which is what?
You're going to get lots of presents? Or is your family nice to you, loves you, gives you lots of presents, or one big present?
I don't. It depends on the year. I'm not sure. What would you like me? What helps your question?
Lots of presents.
Lots of presents. Is
Several
my answer.
presents.
Several presents.
The Packers are like, wow, I got a present. This is great. It's not one of your favorite presents. It's just like a nice sweater that I'm getting. Like, this is great. And as much as you want to look at the glass half empty version of all these teams, I'll say, well, the Rams have a Super Bowl winning quarterback and a Super Bowl winning coach. The Eagles, we talk about having all the weapons, and Saquon might break a historic NFL record. The Vikings just toss it up to Justin Jefferson, and he makes something happen. The Lions are setting offensive records rolling and having trick plays that they're so good and so explosive on offense. Like, maybe we should save some of that explosiveness. What are the Packers do that blow me away?
So can I?
You know what? My favorite present.
So can I
was
respond
the
to
Packers.
that before
what
you
is
go,
it?
Brew?
They're like, oh, they're just very
I
good.
actually had
I like
a similar analysis, but came to a different conclusion.
Okay.
So the Packers they have 3 players on offense that make $4 million or more. They have 4 players on defense that make $4 million. They only have 7 players on the whole roster that make at least $4 million. Now, part of that is because they're very young, and part of that is because they are a team chock full of B and B plus players. Not a lot of A's. Brew thinks Jordan Love's the best quarterback in the conference. If he's right, that's the path.
I think he's an
and
A.
Josh Jacobs might be.
Jacobs is
and then but there is some merit and value to that because they don't have a lot of these other teams have some A's, some B's, some F's. The Packers, you watch them play, and it's like, where is their... So I agree with you, Wilds. They don't have a wow strength the way the Eagles have running the ball with Saquon or throwing to A.J. for that matter, or the Lions' offense kind of as a whole. But I don't look at them as having a glaring weakness at all. And so that's where...
Let's talk about this. It's funny, I actually talked about this before, about having like the A's and the B's and the C's and what that means. I talked about that with quarterback play, actually specifically more than anything, and there is a lot of power in that. But I wouldn't even say that that's who the Packers are. The Packers are just, they have A players that are just young. And so people just don't know them as well. They just don't know them as much as they do. They don't have the fame and the fortune and the social media followers and the commercials and the big contracts. And they're in Green Bay and the media is not telling them, look at this guy, look at this guy, look at this, look at Kraft, look at Kraft, look at Kraft. Look at Dobbs, look at Dobbs, look at Dobbs. You know, and that's the problem. And we know Derrick Henry is such a monster of a human being that his game, and he's obviously putting up the numbers, his game jumps off the screen. Saquon is such a dynamic, exciting quarterback, jumps off the screen. And then you have someone like Jacobs who is a lot more gritty, who isn't bringing all the eyes like a Saquon or Derrick Henry. And so again, I know Brew kind of said he is an A as well, along with Jordan Love. But I just think it's the perception that ends up being wrong about the Green Bay Packers. And I don't want to keep leaning on them rolling the Cowboys, but they rolled the Cowboys in the playoffs, and they had the 49ers on the ropes. They were a play away from going to the NFC Championship game. Like, that is who this team is. That is who they were last year, and they're better this year. And also, when you talk about where, they're a team that's full of, like, B's and stuff, what about their coach? Their coach is an A. You have an A quarterback and an A coach. Boom. That alone is your superpower. Because when we talk about, say, the Eagles or the Lions or the Vikings or any of these other teams, you can maybe question that combination. Is Dan Campbell a liability? Yes or no? Him going for it, all this, is that? I don't know. Jared Goff, is he a civilian or a superhero, as Nick puts it? Jalen Hurts and Sirianni. Does he influence the offense more than Kellen Moore? Is there going to be a time in that game when he's going to say go for it and Kellen Moore's like we shouldn't and they go for it? Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell. Is Sam Darnold indeed an actual A? Yes or no? So I get some of those other question marks, but I see it as also like the lack of the question mark. Like I don't really understand. I understand what Wilds is saying, but I just wholeheartedly kind of like disagree with it. Again, we're so obsessed with putting a face on something. I forget if this was about the Packers or not, but I talked about this recently, where it's like people need that big time wide receiver, that big time quarterback, that big time running back or something to be the face of this franchise, to be able to show people this is why they're great. Because of Josh Allen, because of Patrick Mahomes, because of Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. Like they need that. And again, like let's not act like Jordan Love is some scrub of a quarterback here. Like, you know, like they're acting like Jordan Love is like a Geno Smith or something. Jordan Love is special. Jordan Love is special. And again, you're combining that with Matt LaFleur. That's special. That's a special duo. So to counter what Wilds was saying about, oh, many little presents or whatever, rather than like one big one, where's that big one? At a minimum, it's Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. And I got news for you. You know what it's really like? You want to keep the holiday analogy going? Ho, 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 let's keep it up. Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are the PlayStation, the Xbox, whatever system you want. And everyone else, they're the video games. What good is it to have the video, to have the PlayStation, and a controller if you got like no games? What good of it even if you only got like one game? I remember there's times when I got like a new system. I don't really play games, but when I got a console back, whenever, I had like one game, two games, and it was really fun. But you're like, all right, I can't just play this game again and again. And then I had to wait. I wasn't like, rich and all that type of stuff. So I had to like wait for like another holiday or a birthday to get like another game where you had to like, borrow one from your friends. The Packers, they got the console. They got the multiple controllers so they can play multiplayer with their friends. And they got all the games. They got a stack of like 15 games. So they're not getting bored. They got this. They don't got to wait for the next holiday, Christmas, Easter, whatever. They don't got to wait for their birthday. They good. They good. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. Oh, also, before I go into that, what did the Packers prove? They proved nothing. They're too good of a team to learn anything from beating a team like the Saints, 34-0. They proved nothing. What did you learn about this team that you didn't already know? If you needed proof, then that's on you. The Packers didn't do it. That was just you catching up to the reality of the situation. 1 + 1 doesn't prove to me that it's 2. If there was a time that I didn't know it, I had to learn it. But it was always 1 + 1 = 2. So the Packers didn't prove anything. You don't prove anything against the Saints. No, they're too good of a team for them to learn it. What did the Ravens prove against the Giants? Nothing. They proved that they're not a trash team. It's like, okay, I knew that. Like, what? No. If the Packers were this bridge team or something, and you're like, well, can they put up points? They keep winning a lot of close games, and even against bad opponents, can they finally just pull away? That's not what the story was with the Packers. So no, they proved nothing. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers? Do you think they proved anything last night? And what do you think about them? About them being a legitimate top contender? Do you think it's so hard for them to win on the road? What do you think about there's not enough to make them special? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.